Good morning. I'm Alisa Z. Thank you so much for spending your Sunday morning here with us, listening to the Sunday edition. Education, education, education. I say that more than I say location, location, location. Education is so important to our present and certainly to our future, and supporting education initiatives throughout our community is critical. I know I sound like I'm 1,000 when I say things like that. It's the young people of today who are forging tomorrow, but it's true. It's true. And I think I'm getting a big nod of agreement from Russ Kavalhuna, who is the president of Henry Ford College. Good morning, Russ.
Good morning, Alisa.
I'm so glad you're here with me. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, education's kind of important, huh?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, I kind of want to put you on one of our advertisements.
I'm happy to do it. Happy to do it.
It is the future, and it is the current. So I couldn't agree more. There's nothing more important right now.
How long have you been with Henry Ford College?
Almost 6 years.
Really? Well, so we need to see your face on the billboards and hear your voice on the advertising. We can come up with a dual purpose situation.
Yeah, the Z and Russ show.
I like that. Oh, the Z and Russ show. But speaking of dual purpose, how's that for a segue? We're talking about dual curriculum, different ways for students to learn. We all know that the face of education has been changing for a couple of decades. Do we just need a high school diploma? Do we need to go to university as an associate's degree enough? How do we best prepare for all of those things? And Henry Ford is in one of those unique positions where you're letting kids sort of have it all while moving their futures forward at a little bit more rapid pace, and they have a greater foundation then. So did that distill it down? Because I now want you to deep dive and unpack all of the details.
Yeah, I think that's a great high-level summary. And one of the things that we're really proud of, that we're, frankly, a state leader and a regional leader, is giving high school students free college while they're in high school. Now, we have over 2,700 students that are in high school getting free college at Henry Ford College.
There are that many participating?
Yeah, and the next closest is about 1,500. The next closest college or university. So we're almost double the next closest. And the reason why we're so excited about that is because it addresses exactly what you said in the opening, Alisa. These are students who are going to have better lives. They're going to have higher wages. They're going to live in better communities as a result of achieving a college credential. And that's not me just saying it. Just recently, the Detroit Regional Chamber came out and showed that regions of our country that have the most prosperous communities are the ones with the highest percentage of people with a college credential. Now, a college credential doesn't mean only a bachelor's degree, although that counts. It also means an associate degree, and it also means a certificate. So maybe a certificate to be an assistant to a dentist or to a radiology technologist or things of that nature. But in any regard, if you have a higher percentage of citizens who have attended and completed some college, they have a better community and they have more per capita income. Now, it's difficult to achieve a college credential.
Sure.
One of the barriers is cost. And so we're so proud that we have so many students that are able to achieve college credit at Henry Ford College with taking on no cost. Another reason that it's difficult is because it's a little bit of an intimidating prospect to leave the home and go to a university or go to a college. This also is a barrier we've knocked down by saying to local communities, bring your high school students right to Henry Ford College in your neighborhood or very close and achieve free community college. And then the last thing I'll just say is these credits are completely transferable to universities, and they cost about $500 per credit at the universities. And so we have students that come in and achieve 10, 20, 30, 40 credits, and you can do the math pretty quickly. That quickly adds up to $10, $20, $30,000 of savings. So we see this as you mentioned, investing in the current youth for the future. And as we may talk about, Lisa, Michigan's got to do better at this because we're not having enough people stay in Michigan and then do like my family did and maybe yours did, grow a family here in Michigan. And these are the best return on investment because studies have shown over and over these students who start at community colleges, 90% of them stay in Michigan.
And like you said, we need that. Brain drain isn't just a rhyming sentence that you might see as an answer on Jeopardy. It's true. Why should we be training and teaching and educating and guiding all of these people to say, boy, it was nice to meet you, now goodbye? And that still will happen for some, but we need them here. We need them right here in Michigan. My kids all have friends who participated in dual curricula, and they started college, like you said, with so many credits under their belt because everything transferred just fine. And then they were able to jump in as juniors sometimes or beyond. I don't see a downside to this, do you?
No, in fact, we hope that we're the model to spread across the state. In fact, I've even suggested that high schoolers should be either required or nearly required to achieve some college credit while they're in high school. And a lot of the students that would benefit from that are the students that unfortunately we serve, not unfortunate that we serve them, but unfortunately they don't know that college is for them. They
Yep.
question whether college is for them. And here's why. We serve the highest percentage of students who are disproportionately economically distressed. They're frankly not coming from communities that value college. They're from marginalized communities. And so we've gotten really good at going to them and saying, not only is college for you, you can build yourself a better life, and the cost profile goes down immediately if you would take college credit while you're in high school. The other thing about this that you kind of talked about was that these students that are taking these college credits, whether they're from affluent communities or economically distressed communities, they deserve to see a path to a meaningful career in Michigan. And that's the
Exactly.
next kind of horizon in higher education that we're really proud of having accomplished what we think is a first in the history of Michigan agreement with the largest employer, which is Corewell Health.
Mm-hmm.
We've just announced that they have agreed to guarantee jobs to our nursing students. Now we have we have the largest 2-year nursing program in the state, and Corewell has endorsed our quality by saying we will guarantee your students jobs as long as they get through your curriculum,
Mm-hmm.
and they promise 2 years of loyal service to our patients in our facility. And so we think that this is something we can replicate across the state because, as you just mentioned, some of your children and their friends got college credit while in high school and then maybe went to a university. The next step is showing them that they should and can stay in Michigan. And the best way to do that is with a real job.
Yes.
And we hope that even the next step would be incentivizing these students who get a job to stay even longer by some type of tax credit, which is what you may know that the Growing Michigan Together Council just recommended to the legislature.
Yes.
And I was proud to serve on that the work group who was recommending changes to the higher education scheme in Michigan. And that was one of the final parts of that talent pipeline.
Okay.
Guarantee of a job and then a state incentive to stay and live in Michigan.
I vote yes on all of the above. The guarantee of a job is huge. Congratulations on that. And I don't think there's any problem with saying if you're going to take one of these jobs, you need to stay for a couple of years. It's just like introducing the students to a college education. Check it out. Oh, I can do this. I will stay and continue. Go to Corewell and work as a nurse for a couple of years. Oh, I kind of like it here. I think I'll stay and raise my family here. Tax credit for remaining and practicing your craft. Oh, definitely. I am staying here in Michigan. I will be watching closely as all of these three pieces converge with one another. We also know, as you said, with the underserved communities and students who may not feel the support for this tack, not because their parents don't want what's best for them, but when we're dealing with unfamiliar territory and a different vocabulary and lack of exposure to that kind of experience, how could they possibly know whether or not it's for them? This way, they truly are granted the best of both worlds and a tremendous start. So when a student says, or you go to a student or a high school goes to a student and says, I want you to try this, how does the whole process work?
Well, we like to embed our employees in the high schools with the help of the local college counselor
Great.
to say to these students while they're in 9th, 10th, 11th grade, you should contemplate taking one of the math courses at Henry Ford College. You can do it by getting yourself to Henry Ford College. You can do it by taking one of the courses online. And in some instances, we've actually taken some of our professors and embedded them in high schools to give that first initial
Okay.
college belongs to you. But what I'll say is I believe the future of getting more Michiganders educated and to stay in Michigan is to increase the college-going culture, particularly for those demographics you just described. And I say that as the son of an immigrant and a first-generation college student who got a chance at and achieved the American dream by going to the local community college because of some small intervention like you just described. Someone in my dad, little Eduardo from Brazil, said, you can have a better life if you go to the local community college, which was on the west side of the state. And he did that. And from then on, he had a prosperous life and gave me privilege and opportunity that I can't even begin to understand. But this is the kind of investment that if we make will deliver these types of returns. And the local community college, I'm really biased in favor of Henry Ford College, but I'll tell you, we've got 32 of these across the state.
Yes.
And I'd like to see us as a state start to say to every high school student, it's an expectation that you get some college credit while you're in high school. Now, if it's not for you, that's fine. But we can do it in curricula that actually add value. Maybe one would be a skilled trade.
Mm-hmm.
You could get a skilled trade 3-credit course if you like. Or maybe you will take a 3-credit course in financial literacy so you understand what debt is, you understand what insurance is, you understand what a mortgage is. Or maybe you take civic literacy so that the kind of radicalization that happens with so many of our community, we might – and those 3 options, each 3-credit courses, imagine if every high schooler had to knock down those 3 credits for no cost.
That would be a remarkable achievement, and what a great beginning of whatever the next step along their paths would be. They have that foundation. When I graduated from high school, there were basically 3 options. You either went to University of Michigan. If you didn't have the grades, you went to MSU. That has changed dramatically. I'm not putting anybody down. Some of my best friends are Spartans. One of my daughters graduated from there. Or you went to work at the factory. And then people like my father came in and opened a vocational school, and I began to really see the merits of that. But those were really the only choices because we didn't know what else was possible. What Henry Ford College is offering is an eye-opening to the opportunities that are possible to young people who traditionally might not even know those opportunities exist, right?
Yeah, and that's a criticism that, well, it's not, you're not being critical, I am. That is something I see higher education as somewhat needing to reform itself. And so that's the reason why I've been going into these high schools. I for a long time, Alisa thought, if we just lowered the price and we showed a decent path to a meaningful career, we'd get these types of marginalized populations to see that they had access and then become successful. It didn't work.
Right.
So I started going into these high schools in Southwest Detroit and in Downriver and asking the students, hey, I may not have the same background as you, but I have a lot of commitment to the idea that you belong in college. What do I need to tell you, and what kind of answers can I give you that would make you see and agree with that? And I was interested to hear. But a lot of it was, well, we just didn't really think this was for us. And are you committed to this success? And so we've built programs, for example, for students that some come from marginalized racial backgrounds, where we've built programs to say, not only do you belong, but you have a cohort model of learning where the imposter syndrome is not eliminated because that wouldn't be completely effective, but it is reduced in certain parts of our campus. And we're in now the second year of trying to do that, and we're proud to say that the Detroit Promise is a program that gives free college to any student who graduates from any high school in Detroit, public, private, parochial. And we have at Henry Ford College by far the most Detroit Promise students of any college or university, and that's because our leadership from the top down have gone to those high schools and said, college is for you, it's free, and from the top down, you can have my mobile number, you can contact me, we want you here, and we want you to be successful. And I think that's the next step in engaging these marginalized populations, because my generation was much like what you just described. There was university, factory job, or, not a good service type job.
Right.
And a lot of people never even saw themselves as college material. We've got to do a better job at the college level to say, you deserve a chance.
Do you have a few additional minutes to hang out with me if we pause for a moment? Because I get the feeling we have a little bit more to discuss. If you don't know, I'm going to look at my cheat sheet so I don't mispronounce your name first, Russ. Russ Kavalhuna. How'd I do? Yay, president of Henry Ford College. Thank you for being here with us. You'll hang out a little bit more, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
It'd be an honor.
We are talking not just the importance of education, but the importance of acceptance in education and opportunities in education. Detroit Promise offering the dual curriculum phase, Henry Ford College having more than any other school of its type in the state, more students enrolled in dual curricula from high school to college, getting college credit at no cost. Let's say it again, at no cost, while they are still in high school. Russ Kavalhuna, president of Henry Ford College, thank you so much for this discussion. It's really fascinating to me and so important to so many. I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad to be with you.
When you talk to students about going to Henry Ford and taking classes while they are in high school, many will jump at the opportunity, but there will be some naysayers or thinking this is too good to be true. Can you dispel those notions, please?
Some of them are based in some difficult hurdles they have to overcome because a lot of our students have family to take care of. A lot of our students have jobs they need to work.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our students have communities that are suspect of higher education, saying college isn't for us. You shouldn't be there. That's a waste of your time. One of the things that we do that I think makes a big difference is coming to those students' communities where they find that resistance and then offering clear ways to overcome that resistance. So if a student needs to work a part-time job, then we try to find a way that they can do one class that's online or asynchronous, which means that they don't even have to show up for class. They do the work, supply the work, and then have it graded on their timetable.
I learned that phrase through the pandemic when my kids' classes were, is it synchronized, asynchronous? What are we doing? I'm so confused. Whole new vocabulary.
Yeah. When I took this job, Alisa, I did not know I would be trying to evaluate an international pandemic. I don't have a lot of quality training for that. But I learned those terms also, and that's one of the things we were able to grow from out of a tragedy. Another thing that we do to kind of take those barriers down that students may see before they see themselves as college material is to show them students that look and sound like them from their community.
Yes.
That's a big deal with this generation. They are more responsive to what they see as their contemporaries' behavior than maybe you and I were. Now, maybe we would have been like that if we had computers in our pockets and could see each other all over the planet all the time. I don't know, but I will tell you that the students that we serve, particularly in these demographics, they want to see other people that look and sound like them having success in the thing you're telling them that they should do.
Yes.
So we've hired recruiters and former students to come and help us do that. And then the last thing that I'm still working on, and I think is probably the future of higher education, is to give definite tracks for better lives, which usually entails a good job and a salary. Mm-hmm. Students understand the value of a salary and the value of a job. And when we can produce more clear tracks, I don't care if it's a track to be a brain surgeon or a track to be a school teacher, when we can do that, we will have more students that we really need to see themselves as college material have the opportunity to push back against some of their social pressures that is college isn't for you. And there are a lot of those students. I can tell you because I've sat with them and I've talked with them.
Mm-hmm.
That social pressure to not go to the place where people's parents and grandparents just never had a chance, that's one of the things we're going to have to break through if we're going to serve a population, which is a moral imperative, but also an economic imperative. That is the seed corn for our future prosperity.
They go hand in hand in hand. Now, for the students, this is free, but for Henry Ford College, this isn't free. How is Detroit Promise funded? How is this whole program funded? And what do we need to know and understand so that we can help these programs continue?
Yeah, so this is a nuanced answer, but I'll just tell you, for particularly individuals who are in the lower socioeconomic status, the cost barrier for community college is almost nothing. There's so many different avenues to get all of your tuition either paid for or nearly all of it paid for. Detroit Promise is one, and that's limited to students that come from Detroit, and that is an institution that raised money to support high school graduates from Detroit and encourage them to go to college. They can go to nearly any college or university in the region, and their tuition is paid for. An entirely separate program is a system where while students are in high school, the state of Michigan will allow that high school, let's call it Smithville can take monies that is devoted to Johnny and give them to the local community college to pay for those credits. So Henry Ford College, receiver of either of those students, is still getting paid a tuition for that. And it's the third lowest tuition in the state. And that's because we're a community college. We keep our rates very, very low. And then I'd also say we're very, very blessed to be supported by our local property taxpayers like myself, who also help us keep the costs down while our program's very broad and very high quality.
And we need to do our due diligence as members of the community to see where those property tax dollars are going. And I can't imagine anybody not wanting to support education. There must be naysayers, but I don't imagine they are the majority. Am I correct? I hope.
Well, I'll take your ideas as a voter anytime. But some voters do ask, hey, is the money that I'm devoting for Henry Ford College worth it? And I'll just give you an example. A house that's worth about $200,000, that taxpayer will pay in the vicinity of $340 a year, a little less than $22 a month for all of the programming we offer. So if that family has college or high school students, that's free college for them while they're in high school. If they happen to be a business owner or have an interest in their own property value going up, we've done an economic analysis where in 2022, a third-party entity evaluated that $1.6 billion of economic activity was the result of Henry Ford College. That may seem like a lot, but you have to understand 13,000 students come into our classrooms and go out every day. And they need to buy gas and they need to buy food, and some of them themselves work in jobs. And so we are an economic driver for your community and your property tax values. And then finally, we're a community resource. You can come and watch a nationally ranked basketball team. You can come and walk the back of our campus, which has a beautiful river walk in the Rouge River. If you're a senior citizen in our community, you can take courses free of tuition. And I'd like to tell you, the president of the college cares so much about it. You want to come see the college, I'll personally give you a tour. But it is a community resource, and we do have to go to the voters, and we're doing that this year every several years and say, please continue your investment. And we're proud to say we're not asking for any increase. We're simply asking for a re-endorsement of what we've continually had. And the average house is worth less than $200,000 in Dearborn, and that $200,000 house is giving us, and we're proud of it, but it is a modest investment at a little less than $22 a month.
And it is for everybody's future. You know that you'll hear people saying, well, I don't have any kids living here anymore. Nobody's going to benefit from that. Everybody benefits when our kids are guided properly toward their futures, and that affects ours as well. Is there a website we can guide people to, Russ, before I let you go for the morning?
Yeah, it's hfcc.edu. And if you don't mind, I'll just say one more thing to note. Henry Ford College is the only college that we're aware of in the state that has guaranteed admission to universities. So what that means is if you bring your student to Henry Ford College and knock off an associate degree, which is 2 years, most students in that scenario will have to ask for permission to get into the university for the next step. Over the last year, we've become the only college to give guaranteed admission at U of M Dearborn, Wayne State University, and Eastern Michigan University once our students show that they're successful at Henry Ford College. So I would say to you that is an investment worth making.
Absolutely. Russ Kavalhuna with Henry Ford College, thank you for all you do for us and for taking the time today. I appreciate you.
It's a point of pride to serve.
And thank you all for spending your Sunday morning here with us. Once again, I'm Alisa Z. You're listening to the Sunday Edition.